So for my project, I did workplace mistakes. Workplace mistakes could be a really crazy thing sometimes. And sometimes in businesses, it can end the business. Mistakes can really be bad for some businesses. Sometimes it can put a huge hold on work. It can just delay stuff. I have also seen mistakes that sometimes can be really funny, but really can ruin a whole entire business by one simple mistake. From websites I researched, I found some of the biggest mistakes you can make at a job, and that is lying, throwing others under the bus, throwing a tantrum, and taking credit for other people's work, which is really just messed up if you ask me. Other interesting things that I found on my research was a link that I found and a website that I found about getting over mistakes you've made. I found that mistakes you've made by listening to a list of steps on how to feel better about it. One thing it states is that you should feel guilty about it, but don't feel guilty about it for long. You should think about it for a little bit and let that go. And you also need to think about what's the worst thing that can happen, and just be like, hey, that's the worst thing that can happen. I just need to let it go. What happens, happens. It's life. You just gotta let it be. So I want to ask you, who out there has ever made a mistake in a workplace, such as a typo on a piece of paper that really messed something up, or calculated the wrong number, or just a simple mistake you didn't even think you were doing, but actually ended up making a mistake at your workplace? I know I have done multiple mistakes. Myself, my family and I own a construction business. I have done mistakes before, such as my dad planning crew members to go to actual Flagler to do a job, and I thought they were going to the land. So I sent the concrete trucks to the land where there was no crew members and nothing was ready. So it put a whole halt to our work that day, and we didn't get nothing done because miscommunication between two people. Our workers were in Flagler, the trucks were in the land, and nothing was happening. It ruined the whole entire day. It cost us a bunch of money because all those trucks had to go back and get rid of the concrete. It's insane how one simple mistake like that can cost everything. And another mistake that I've seen, but wasn't me, it was a worker actually. We were supposed to put down F curb, and there's different kind of curbs in the concrete business, and we were supposed to put down F curb, and the worker put on the wrong mold, which was the J curb, and poured 4,000 feet of the wrong mold, which cost the business over $12,000 in one day at work. Just one simple mistake, one whole day, $12,000. Made us not even break even. We actually lost profit on the job because of a simple mistake by a worker. Other simple mistakes that have been made that I couldn't prevent but weren't are things like a broken strap. We had one guy that came and picked up an aero board, and when he picked up the aero board, there was a strap that we have that holds it down when traveling. Well, the strap had a little rip in it, and he thought it would hold. Well, it didn't. It actually broke. Instead of going to get a new strap and not be lazy, he's like, hey, I think it's going to hold. It actually broke the aero board in half on the interstate, causing it to come off, and actually another car ran into it. It would cost us a whole bunch. The board itself, the aero board, cost us over $20,000. And then we had to also pay for the other person's car to replace it. That person got fired, I must say. But it was just a simple mistake that could have been solved, but they didn't want to because they were lazy. What's some of the worst mistakes you guys have made? I know you have seen out there, and think about it for a minute, but just think about the domino effect from little mistakes. Just think that one little mistake stopped someone else from doing their job, which stopped another person, which cost a lot of money to a company, which could almost end a company. It's insane how far the domino effect can go from one little typo, one little mistake, and just keep on going down the line and just killing everything. We had a mistake that caused a lot of mess in our work area. We had a worker that put out one cone. Well, he put out cones, and he was one cone short. He was supposed to put out 522 cones, and he only put out 521 cones, which caused a crash because that one cone missing made the merge lane too small. So legally and stuff, we got sued because that one cone being short made the turn lane too short for someone to merge over, which looked bad on us, and it cost us a bunch. And that car that crashed also ran into the back of a curb machine, which cost us a bunch of money. It was over $50,000. That's what I can tell you. But this is a domino effect. One little mistake cost a whole company a bunch of money, almost ended a company due to one cone not being out. But it's literally insane to me how one cone almost screwed our whole entire business because it ruined a curb machine, made a crash, and we had to go through a lawsuit about it. Most people think the worst mistakes that can happen. Most people think the worst mistake that can happen are arguments with other workers, which is true. But the worst thing that can happen actually is a simple mistake that you would never think twice about. I have seen multiple mistakes and have had multiple mistakes myself where I've had to get in it with workers. They were doing something wrong and I know better, and I knew they didn't fix it. They could really harm the business or someone's life if I didn't get into their face or talk to them about how to fix it so they didn't ruin something. Even though it looks bad that I had to get in someone's face, sometimes it's the right thing to do to make sure people don't get hurt and a business don't end. So at the beginning of this, I asked you guys to think about a mistake that you guys made, or either made a little typo, a miscalculation of numbers, or just something in the workplace. What did you think of, and what were some of the mistakes out there? I know I had multiple in my business, and it's crazy. One little business can have so many mistakes, and it can affect the business so much. What were the mistakes you made, and how did it affect your business, or how did it affect you in your workplace? Thank you for listening. This is Justin Knapp on my speech on workplace mistakes.